do 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 do. Got a monster dun, 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 in my pocket. Do 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 do. He's electric. I'm gonna use it. Dun, dun, dun. My intention to be number one. I'm gonna make you notice. How? Gonna use my arms. Gonna use my electroshock. Gonna use my pika. Gonna use my pokey index. Whoa, 'cause I'm gonna make you feel nobody else here. No one like me. I'm special, special, so special, special. I gotta have some of your attention. Give it to me, 'cause I'm gonna make you see nobody else here. No one like me. I'm special, special, so special, special. I got to have some of your affection. Give it to me. Got a monster in my pocket. That's what do you think a Pokemon is? A monster that lives in your pocket. I'm doing something new here with my studio. I've got all my information kind of switched around. Hi, welcome to the show. It's time for the Comics Talk with your friend, Reverend Sully. That's right. Amateurish, professionalish comic book reader for all his life. And you have come to your dojo for tactical and practical spirituality. We have a fun-filled show for you today. We read 31 different comic books this week. We bought some fresh new releases from our local comic book shop in this ubiquitous brown paper bag that we will inspect after we peruse the pirated booty. I use a pirate site. I got the link from just being attentive, watching shows, specifically your boy Zach. And in my estimate, this is just, I would like to say that if it's worthwhile, I will go back and buy it. We're going to see a few of those, a few examples of that today. As I was just like, I got to get some of these. And also we're going to discuss why we had a few misses as well. Well, we got people showing up. I hope that is it time to serve fondue? We're having fondue tonight. Please, thank you. My mouth's watering. I haven't had fondue in years. Lane Kramer, hello. Count it is a sully afternoon. Doom, 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 doom. Hey, Lithador, welcome. Good to see you. The taxman's run off, wish my gosh, and left me in my stately home, hanging on this sully afternoon. And I'm just sitting here, sipping on my ice-cold beer, blazing on this sully afternoon. Doom, boom, 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 bum, bum, bum. Help me, help me, help me from this squeeze. I got a big fat mama trying to reel me in, 'cause I love to live so pleasantly. Live this life of luxury, blazing on a sunny afternoon. In the summertime, blazing on a sully afternoon. Thank you for the inspirato, Lane Kramer. That's what we need here. It's a very musical episode. I was I was hanging out with Bandito Bane last night at his channel. He's got a show that he's getting up and running called Geeks Talking Geek, and it was great to hang out with him. I've known him for a while now, especially through Ginger Ninja's live art streams, where we would just kibbutz about goings-ons in pop cultures and things. And he's good company, and he's a good guy. He's out in I think Northern California-ish, and so the whole country separates us, but still we're united by this thing of ours, this YouTube thing. We're also going to talk about this YouTube thing near the end of the show. There's something happened last night in Dallas, Texas, and I feel non-delusionally parasocially impacted by it. We're going to get to the bottom of that, those big words there. And also Star Wars, the ACOLYTE. There's been more hubbub about that. And a lot of it, I feel, is outrage farming. And I call people out on it. Not because I'm entitled to, but just more of like, hey, I support, I like you guys, but what's up with this? We're going to get to that near closer to the end of the show. And if we have time, we're going to talk about Dune 2 specifically, Denis Villeneuve's Dune à part deux. And I'm fascinated with Dune and its interpretation. So if you like Dune, we'll have a little Dune conversation as well. Hello, Dwayne Muth. Cheers and hello. What did we read this week? Well, there were 9 independent comics, 14 Marvel magazines, and 8 of their distinguished competition. So basically, I read 22 superhero books, and 9. A couple of them were just like, one of them's like a G.I. Joe thing, in the Energon universe. So does that count as a superhero thing? Maybe. You let us know in the comments section, especially if you're watching this later on replay. Welcome. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. We're still a growing channel. We're about to break 1,500 subscribers. We're about 25 or so subscribers away. So you could be 1501 very soon. And thank you for coming aboard. We do content on our channel here. I am Reverend Sully, Eric O'Sullivan, ordained on the internet through a hokey internet ordination. But I've done weddings and stuff. So it's I'm a spiritual dude. I really am. And I am a seeker. I have sought. I've found. I've given up. I've let go. And it's about enlightenment. And so you get a lot of spirituality and a lot of positivity here. We do have things that we complain about or that we're critical about. That's being a human and being, and having and caring about stuff. Yet there's a point where I don't want to sound like every other channel on YouTube. I just don't want to do that. I make the conscious choice to be myself, to not fall in line, to be a true maverick, a true original, and have my own sense of what's going on with these eyes, ears, nose, mouth, this brain, and the ability, my ability to tie things together too. So yeah, and we talk about comic books twice a week here. We on Wednesdays we do a preview show of Wednesday is traditionally New Comic Book Day. And so I go to my local comic book shop, my LCS, every Wednesday, and I pick up my new releases. And if I need them, I know I need them, you might too, bags, boards, and boxes. And I get them through my local comic book shop. They are part of this truth, justice, and the American way that Superman's been talking about all this time. The American way, that's small local businesses. These are mom and pop brick and mortar shops. They are independent bookstores. We need to support them. Or when they close, that they go away and they're not often replaced. People opt for the big box stores and especially the online supply chain. And I'm guilty of that too. And, but yeah, I get my supplies at the local comic book shop. I do. And you should too. I'm not telling you what to do or how to feel or how to spend your money. Just a suggestion on how to, live like, if you want to, have an aspirational hero like Superman. Who's got me? But who's got you? He's the one that's flying, not me. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, last night on Bandito Bane, we were talking about a Dragon Ball land, and I busted into song. Let's see. Let's share this tab, and let's make sure you can hear it. Now, this is from last night. Indeed. They've got a lot of real estate to play with. Hear this?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, this is in Kiad. Yeah, this is going to be in Kiad.
Kiad.
They've already had like Formula One events, big soccer cups, boxing, MMA, wrestling.
I'm about to bust into song. We're talking about Dragon Ball Z. There's this huge built city in Saudi Arabia that's going to be a theme park. It's going to be a Dragon Ball land. And I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, Dragon Ball Z. I love the unfiltered Japanese version. And
Sling.
I've also been drinking beer all night.
There was a WWE Crown Jewel was there. Or
Ooh.
No, wait. It was King and Queen of the Ring that was there. So it's going, and this was announced like not long.
You can hear my fingertips, and now you can see my face. It's like, okay, I did it. I looked up the lyrics, and I've never sang this out loud before. I just know the song. I just kind of know it by heart, but I don't know the words.
They were already
because it's in Japanese.
Not long after Toriyama Sensei, rest in peace, died.
Have
passed
not.
away.
I heard
And
it looks good.
here are some concept art that they actually came up with. And
okay, can I sing along?
Oh yeah, sure.
So we don't get I need these in English.
All right.
Hikaru kume tsune to fly away, karada ju ni hirugaru panorama. Sorry. Hey,
yeah, it was good. All right, so
Thanks, man. Remember, I pitch perfect.
I can't really get into this.
I don't want to get a strike on
I can't really magnify into this, but like you could see that here we have like the Central Plaza. You have Shenron. Oh,
it's parts of the world.
Yeah,
you
have.
Good to see you, Mo.
Tower.
Good to see you, AL. Hope you feel better.
And Dr.
AL has been waylaid by COVID.
There's the Kami House. There's
good to see you still. Hopefully, you can bellyache here all you want here, Mo.
That's the Budokai.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're looking at these this is going to be in Saudi Arabia, and so it's a complete
Red Ribbon Tower.
It's a complete
going deep in the lore.
Dragon Ball world.
More true to Dragon Ball Earth.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like, this is great. I would. Hey Mo, I might go if I go here in 10 years. You want to hang out?
Celebration.
Mo, you want to go to Dragon Ball World with me? It's like it's in your country. You heard about this?
This is going to be on my bucket list, man.
I would do that.
I would do this. This is great.
I will learn how to speak Saudi.
He's getting ready. You can tell.
Just to go there.
I'm gonna finish this song.
I will.
I'm gonna land
my right kidney just to go there.
Don't do that. Don't give your kidney. Don't
keep that. That's
very
valuable.
You're gonna need
don't
that.
Never say that again, please. No, don't. Some things. Please don't. People will hold that to you. People are like, oh, you said this on YouTube 38 years ago. On the table there, one. Cough it up.
Yeah, so
Had a good time hanging out with one. Monega pachi pachi suru hodo sagao genki dama sparking.
Yes.
I just read that. Thank you so much. Oh, that was fun. That was real fun. Thank you for letting me share that with you. Woo. That was real fun. And let's see here. Let's are we paying attention to the chat? We need to pay better attention to the chat here. Let's get back to this. It's in Rida. Okay. Thank you, Mo. I'm just might like, yeah, huh? You're going, or is that on your bucket list? That's great. It's good to see everyone out there. Hey, James, good to see you, buddy. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's the YouTube way, right? Indeed. Awesome. So let's get to some comic books that we read this week. Let's see here. We read 14 different Marvel books this week, including some notables, including Uncanny X-Men 700 / X-Men Volume 6, number 35, the final issue of the Krakoan Age. We had Wolverine Blood Hunt, number 1. There's the Ultimates, number 1, by Dennis Camp. Anything else? Amazing Spider-Man 51, which is, kind of just been, it's satisfying and let's get to it. Let's start off alphabetically from the top of the list, reverse. For $9.99, 89 pages of story and art. It's a cavalcade of creators. And it's the end of... Alarming, huh? I got the windows open. It's just too nice. I mean, it was like raining all day, and now the sun is out, and it's chewing off the humidity out of the air. Alarming. All right. It sounds like 1989 out there. Jeez. Who still has that? Okay. Anytime now. You sure you got that? You want to help us out? No? You just want to be annoying? A little bitch? Okay. All right. Sorry about that, kids. There we go. Yay. That would be telling. But that's, actually. Okay, but look at all these creators that are on the cover. So this is a wraparound cover. So this is the back cover of the book. I wonder if that's supposed to be a sentinel. You know what I mean? Because sentinels aren't that big. Sentinels are like supposed to be like giants, not like giant robots. So a sentinel should be able to hold a human in their hands as if they're like the size of like a 1/6 scale. That's what I've always presumed. But here's the other side of the cover. Let's see. Who's that on the blackbird's nose? What do you think that is? Because I always love to play who's who with these ends. I can pretty much, tell you everyone on this side of the thing. Wow. Can you be even more annoying, please? Neighbors. Well, I could probably score about 90% in this one, and about 99% in this one. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But look, okay, I just want you to look here. We've got, Jerry Duggan, Kieran Gillen, Al Ewing,
Those are your three writers on this, especially with Duggan and Gillen. They've done a lot of heavy lifting on the end game of this train wreck. But we got plenty of artists here. We got John Romita Jr. on the cover here. He's got one bloody panel. How do I know it's John Romita Jr.? I know John Romita Jr.'s artwork. I know what he looks like. You know, and it's like this big fight between, Apocalypse and the rest of the X-Men. And so it's like you got Phil Notto artwork. It's like this like huge jam. Here it is, right here. You see this? This is John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna and terrible fucking drop and drag, cut and paste fucking onomatopoeia dropped on top of some, once again, and everyone has a piece of Apocalypse in this, and then it's all happily ever after. And this, I don't know what to say about X-Men 35. I know what we didn't say. I was on West yesterday for 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we talked about it for like 20 seconds. We were talking about good things yesterday. We were talking about the best of things yesterday. If you haven't checked it out yet, yesterday's episode of Thinking Critical's Comics Aficionados, wow! We talked about the best of DC Comics, the best Batman titles in our humble opinion, the best Superman titles in our humble opinion, the best Flash runs, stories, the best. What's the best? And I like this because the part of being in this YouTube space, in this sphere, this community, this fellowship, this fandom, it's about entertainment, it's about having fun, and it's about escapism. And so, if we get so wrapped up in outrage culture, we lose sight of the fact that we're supposed to be having fun. I mean, if we're having fun at other people's expense, at like riling people up, stressing them out, dunking on them, crapping on them online, that is a form of satisfaction. That is a form of entertainment and amusement. I can respect it. I don't have to like it, but I know it's out there and exists, and I'm fully prepared for that too. I really am. I actually like those kind of people. I get all the clever answers for them. My friend Carrie, the nerdy girl creates, said the nicest thing to me one time. It was some Twitter, kind of back and forth, and you're like, this is Sully. He's the sorcerer supreme of sarcasm. And I'm like, thank you so much. That's like one of the nicest things someone said about me, like in the, thank you. Thanks. I agree. I concur. We also had Wolverine Blood Hunt #1. It's 25 pages. It's $3.99, and it's okay. It doesn't say. Okay. When is Blood Hunt? Is Blood Hunt before Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10? Or is it after? Is it before Fall of the House of X? Is this before Sabretooth War? Or actually, this is comic book shop style conversation at its peak. Okay, when is Blood Hunt happening? Well, if you look at say something, you can look at the index of say the Avengers by Jed McKay's trade dress, because he had 2 issues with Tony Stark being a major part of Fall of X and Fall of the House of X, and Jerry Duggan writing that Iron Man book and writing X-Men book and the X-Men spinoffs, that there were 2 issues, Fall of X and Fall of the House of X, that were part of the Avengers' role in taking down Orcus and their Inside Man 3D man. And then the next issue was a Blood Hunt tie-in. So if we look at, I'm thinking like if we're looking at Avengers as maybe the spine of this Marvel 616 universe, perhaps, that there's our foothold on a timeline. Perhaps. What do you think? Let me know. It was a fun discussion. Oh, thank you so much. I watched it again this morning, because sometimes I watch them to Did I mess up? Did I mumble anything? Did I like, pick my nose? You know what I mean? How does my background look? Just like you're on TV. You're putting yourself out there. Seriously. I could be getting dogpiled for being an idiot. Sometimes I do when I did the incel cast. Seriously. That's the most negative comments I've ever gotten from anything was that stupid incel cast, the MGTOW morning show. My goodness. That's just people just like to dunk on people. It is just that, but that's human, huh? To be human. But it's Tom Waltz, but like great artwork by Juan Jose Reap, who I just love his work. Very detailed. But I mean, in this digital age, I remember Juan Jose Reap stuff from like 15, 20 years ago when it was just more raw pencils and inks when he's doing stuff with Warren Ellis, like at Avatar Press and stuff like that, So a lot of this is just very highly digital. But, I love his artwork. Oh, the digital just has that. It has that flavor. You know what I mean? This is really good. Snicked. Look at that snicked. I mean, that's drop and drag. That's cut and paste. And, yeah, I mean, but there is a mutant. No, I mean, there's a vampire squadron, like Maverick is a vampire, and he sends out a vampire squad to go get Logan, and it's all blood hunt, and it's all blood hunt all the way down, kind of like Turtles. What else did we read? Marvel Comics this week. What If Venom issue 5 of 5. Oh man, this is, well, it happened. I was there for it. It's just like, what if Venom split itself between different heroes of the Marvel Universe instead of binding with Eddie Brock, and yeah, I mean, just like it bound, and these pieces ended up on Moon Knight, on She-Hulk, on Wolverine, Doctor Strange, and I also think Loki as well. And it's over. And that's the best thing I can say about it. It was like that came and went. What If Aliens 4 of, I think it's of 5. It's concept by Paul Reiser and his son Leon. And they don't, that's all, that's it. And Adam F. Goldberg and Hans Rodenoff. And they are, and Brian Volk-Weiss. And it's part 4 written by Hans and Brian, and it's in a Phil Notto cover. And all the people at Disney that that have offices and job titles. There you are. And like the special thanks to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people at Disney that were there when or that are there today because Disney bought Fox. Yep, and here we go. It's that's Paul Reiser's character from Alien. What if he survived? It's LV 407 421. LV 421. Is that it? Yeah, I should know this by now. I should. It's gonna be right in LV 426. Right. Okay. Yeah. Great. And how are you doing today? How's everyone doing tonight? Well, you have a great day. I hope you feel better, Mo. And drink plenty of water. And if or you get Pedialyte, it's good too. Gatorade is kind of too much for a body, over time. If you cut it with water, it's better because it's mostly like the electrolytes and carbs. It's just pure sugar. But but Pedialyte is made for like infants, so it'll give you electrolytes without all the harshness, and it tastes kind of funny. It's this is like an old ice hockey trick about putting, you get a bottle of Pedialyte and you put it into your water bottle and you cut the rest of it with water, and that's going to get you through the game because you sweat your balls off playing hockey, probably playing anything, but this could go for football. What you people call football, footy, the soccer, Pedialyte it's disgusting. Yeah, it is. No wonder why babies cry. Venom, issue 34 by Al Ewing. Blood Hunt tie-ins for Venom. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I read it. That happened. Here's a big one. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, Diamond and Heron, and everybody in this whole spectrum of humanity in between, here on planet Earth and below and beyond. Yeah. It is Ultimate number 1 by Dennis Camp. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is good. Yeah. I have no idea. What is he doing? Our German viewers are going to be very, very, and pencils by Juan Fergari. Yeah, it's. I'm so bored with this. I'm really bored with the Ultimate Universe. If you're reading it and you like it, let us know why you like it, what you're getting out of it. Let's talk about some things that are good about it. I like the design of Iron Man, Iron Lad. I like his. I've got a thing for Iron Man armors. I do, and he's got a pretty good Iron Man design. He really does. And all right, I'm just like looking at my StreamYard studios here. Where is that coming from? Oh, there you are. I hear you. You are heard. Another log on the fire. Throw another Dan Slott issue on the fire, please. And but yeah, I mean, Ultimates 1 was a miss from me. I thought it was like, yeah, I don't want to over-explain it. There's just like it could be fun. It might be fun. People are going to like it. It's just not my cuppa. I'm fine with that. There's plenty of stuff out there that people love that I don't. There's plenty of stuff out there that I love that people think I'm ridiculous for liking. Like that issue of Batman where he fell to Earth. I'm like, he's the man who thought of everything. And they're like, are you kidding me? He fell to Earth from orbit. How? And I'm like, well, you're thinking about this too seriously. This is a comic book. This is a superhero comic book. But that's not, I'm like, shut up and stop thinking so hard. Enjoy the funny book or don't. It's kind of simple. I mean, I thought it was stupid, silly, but it was completely over the top. The man who's thought of everything is thought of a way to survive re-entry and to calculate landing where he needs to land. Of course, because he's thought of everything. He's Batman. I got a lot of crap for that. Yeah, but you like Batman falling to Earth. You darn tootin'. I did. I said that on TV. All right. You got evidence. You got receipts. Receipts. Show me receipts. He's weird, I tell you. Weird. Well, I'm drinking a mocha. I have like my leftover coffee from this morning. And I put some hot chocolate in there and then topped it off with some hot water. And I'm having a very good, very nice sugar rush right now. Very good. Where's my
my window? Oh, here we are. Who moved my cheese? Star Wars High Republic Phase 3, issue number 8, by Kevin Scott. I think the art is terrible in this. But here, let's look at our opening crawl. You see the High Republic, we got the Young Jedi Adventures and the Acolyte. Because you see that in the middle is like, you know, the core of your timeline here. And then you have on the sides there with the parenthesis, the bracket are the live action media that tie in with it. And or it's animated. You know, it's probably its television counterparts, let's say. It's televised. So yeah, Young Jedi Adventures and the Acolyte and the High Republic, the fall of the Jedi, the reign of the Empire, the age of the rebellion and the New Republic, and then the rise of the First Order. You know, and look at this dot down here, like it's going somewhere. The High Republic, The Hunted, Chapter 4, Baron Bulan. The Jedi hunt. For months, troubled former Jedi Master Scare has protected a small Yakombi child, but now the child has been attacked by one of the Nihil's children of the storm. Help is at hand from the most unlikely of sources. Lorna D, disgraced Tempest Runner and one-time ally of Marchion Rowe, placed a tracker on the child before she was taken. A tracker the crew of the Extaria can use to locate the child. But what are Lorna's true motives, and can she be trusted? So Jim Tao does the art. I don't want to think I'm bagging on Mr. Tao. I'm not trying to give him a hard time. I'm not into crapping on creators. That's not what the show's about. It's not what I'm about either. Yeah, but I'm just I mean, the art's competent. I mean, it's just more of like, you know, I don't know. This is the best you can get. Seriously. This is, yeah. But this is literally the best you can get for Star Wars right now. Seriously. I mean, I stand by this, that Star Wars High Republic Phase 3 is the best of what they're producing. It at least feels like Star Wars. It feels like the Star Wars universe. And the Nihil, the Children of the Storm there, that's a real big bad threat, worthy of Star Wars. And I just, you know, we're going to talk too about the other Star Wars. This is Star Wars issue 47 by Charles Soule and Muska Bekoff. I'll blow this up all the way. Very digital. Look at his hands. But look at the cards, okay? You think he drew all that? Or do you think that was just cut and pasted? I don't know. $4.99. It's the trial of Lando Calrissian, Part 4. Sentencing as Lando stands before the Lando. Yep. And who did the cover? Yep. And look. And for all the people, Lucasfilm Story Group. Matt Martin, Pablo Hidalgo, and Emily Shucani. I've never heard too much from Emily Shucani, to be honest. But Matt Martin and Pablo Hidalgo hate you, especially if you are an old fan. Yep, and yeah, this is probably pretty much the best you can get.
for art and storytelling. I mean, but Charles Soule is not all that bad. I mean, no, where was I? Where were we? We're halfway through our list of Marvel comics. Yeah, I read Star Wars 47. It's okay. You got all these stories that, like, you know, it's volume 1 of Star Wars 2015. This is volume 2. Okay. And so that volume 1, those adventures were set between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. This volume 2 here is set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And you can tell you were getting pretty darn close to the events of Return of the Jedi. So I think they've run out of space to tell stories with on this. I wouldn't be surprised if this wraps up at issue 50. And then hopefully they would be brave enough to go to a volume 3 of Star Wars that paves a new direction. Well, they can't, because they painted themselves in a corner with their own continuity. They're going to have notes of an Imperial remnant, probably led by, Allegiant General Pride, and ending up in Exegol, with the Emperor, or what will become the Emperor. They're probably going to start filling in all those spaces. See, the one thing that the former Marvel comic didn't do, the 1977 to 1986, 107 issues with 2 annuals, what that didn't do was it didn't contribute to continuity. And it had to pay attention to, like, especially when that went on between movies, and not change anything. And it couldn't. It just didn't have, but it did have stories set after Return of the Jedi. Pretty good stories too. Mostly written by Mary Jo Duffy, penciled by Cynthia Martin, and edited by Louise Simonson and Ascenti. Hello. I mean, seriously. And but even if they start a new volume of Star Wars, which they're going to have to, the things are all going to lead between Mando, Ahsoka, would you bring in elements of Bad Batch? I don't even know how that ended. I don't even care. I'm not a Bad Batch fan. It is funny because I'm a Clone Wars fan, and we're not, I would love to, what? How about you be nice to us and give us a Blu-ray of the final season of Clone Wars that I can put with the rest of my Blu-rays of the other seasons of Clone Wars. We got Miss Marvel, Mutant Menace, Fall of the House of X, 4 of 4. Co-written by Imam Vellani, the star of Ms. Marvel, who plays herself, Kamala Khan. It's okay. It was better than most issues of the X-Men. I'll tell you that. And it's fine. So if you're a Ms. Marvel fan, come and get it. We have Ghost Rider, Final Vengeance. I think it's 4 of 6. It could be 4 of 5 for all I know. But it's Johnny Blaze versus Parker Robbins, the Hood. And who is the Hood is the current host for Xanathos, the Spirit of Vengeance. He is basically Ghost Rider. While Johnny Blaze it appears that he's been the Ghost Rider so long that it's changed his body. Even though he doesn't have the spirit of Xanathos anymore, he can still manifest the Marvel element known as Hellfire, and he can shoot it from his shotgun. So he can focus it and use his shotgun as a, maybe he can do it with his finger someday. Hopefully he'll outgrow that toy. And then he can Kamehameha. Kamehameha. Alrighty. Get Fury issue 2. Let's stick a pin in this. We'll talk about this at the end of the show. We got Carnage 28. We got Carnage number 8 by Torrin Grönbeck. It's been just it's over the top. It's really gory. It's grotesque. It's I often compare it to the movie Seven, and I only seen the movie Seven once. It was that kind of horrific. You know what I mean? That's that much of an impact that movie left on me. And I hate to say it, but I've never seen it again. I didn't have to. But it is this is horror. There's lots of blood, people on meat hooks, disembowelments. It's carnage, lopping off body parts and eviscerating, vivisecting, just like, and it's just carnage, bloody carnage. And that's it's all right. I mean, if that's what your cup of tea is, that's your cup of tea. Well, hey there, Joseph Ricci. How you doing? We're doing well today, and how are you? Thank you for tuning in today. Maybe you found our channel through Wes's Thinking Critical's Saturday show, such as yesterday's. Let us know in the chat. And hope you can subscribe too. We're still growing here. That's what I say to my tummy every time I have a snack. And exactly. It depends where you are. But the show is live. It is our Sunday live stream, which we are reviewing the 31 different comic books that I read this week. We have Blood Hunters #2, Blood Hunt tie-in, which has a really interesting, written by Carrie Andrews, a Hulk tale. Then we have written by Ann Nesenti, We Drink to Forget We Drink, which is done by it's a Kate Bishop Hawkeye tale. And then there's the Cloak and Dagger and Elsa Bloodstone that pulls together these issues. What have you added to your pull lists? You added 2 comics to pull lists and miniseries. What were they, if you don't mind us asking? We have Amazing Spider-Man #51, Legacy #945. So in 5 more issues, they're going to have probably another celebration issue, oversized, overpriced. You know what I mean? All of these, we just had issue 50 last week. And that was what, $8.99, $9.99 extra thick. And, so it's like, And I remember issue 25 not too long ago. How is the comics business industry doing? There are other stations that get into that. I would say that I watch to get that kind of information. I get that information from Comics by Perch, your boy Zach, and that's about it. And also Wes from Thinking Critical too. He's got a very keen mind for this. So those are the people I go to for that information. Like, what's the health of the comic book business? My answer to that is, I don't think it's doing too well. I believe I'm a child of the 20th century, and I've seen the evolution of the print periodical industry, something that used to have a lot of power in the world, but now it's been replaced fairly so by the changing marketplace and the changing medium. We've moved from paper to digital. We've gone from floppies, we've gone from magazines, we've gone from newspapers to more of like an online paper-free tablet source. I personally like paper. I like art. I like comic books. I like floppies. I like magazines. what were the magazines you grew up reading? I grew up reading GQ, National Geographic, Scientific American, and Rolling Stone magazine, to name a few. Like Hit Parader, Guitar for the Practicing Musician, and other things. Digital is doing well for its own thing. It's interesting because companies don't have to be transparent with their profits or their circulations. There used to be something in print medium with magazines and with comic books too. It's not just you have circulation. Circulation means like, okay, we printed and distributed 1 million copies of this magazine. That's true in Marvel's case in 2015 when they did Jason Aaron and John Cassidy's Star Wars #1. And they say, oh, we sold 1 million of these. They didn't sell 1 million of them. They shipped 1 million. There were 1 million ordered. And a lot of those issues ended up in, grab bags too. So it's just like, and then there are variant covers too. So there's a lot of cooking the books and trickery, when it comes to these numbers. But that's just circulation, that 1 million number. Now, what about your paid circulation? Now, paid circulation means that is like, you're going to send complimentary copies to hotels and to restaurants and to different, places. I mean, like corporations, you know what I mean? You have complimentary, you probably send several thousands, tens of thousands of free copies to different places, just to get the exposure for the ads and things. I don't think so. I don't know. Because, they're not, it's about, what do you know what makes comics valuable? It's scarcity. And it's not its variant cover. It's the scarcity of the variant cover. And it's not the content usually. Now there's something called a key issue. That's capital KEY. A key issue is something happens in this issue. First appearance, death of a character, a very, very changing event. You know what I mean? Key issues. They're like, those are the standouts and the most valuable ones. Say like Infinite Crisis #5. First appearance of Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes, in the suit. You know what I mean? And so that's a key issue. And that I think is worth about $55, depending on then the condition of your book. But yeah, I mean, Spider-Man 50, and thank you for the and for the great, and for the gift of your conversation, Mr. Ricci. And hello, Carrie. We were just talking about you, and we were speaking of you. Well, don't worry. I was bragging to the kids like one day we were on Twitter, and you kind of pushed back on somebody being like, Sully, he's the sorcerer supreme of sarcasm. And I was just like, damn, this is like the nicest thing someone's ever said about me. Like, oh, thanks, kid. So I just like I was sharing them that story. I thought it was good. And Carrie just bought Watchmen on compact, the compact size one too, and which I picked up myself at the local comic book shop to thumb through. And Carrie has a great picture that is comparing the size of the book to other, Japanese manga, tankobon style. There's no universal size of a tankobon. They're just of a certain size range from smaller to largest. But this compact size fits right in with your tankobon collection. And it looks like the pages itself were shrunk. Because, okay, let's like my friend H.H. German of Sigma Comics. He's got his indie comic book called Here Comes Calico. And now if you like Punisher comic books, like by Mike Barron and Garth Ennis, you're going to love Here Comes Calico. H.H. is a visionary of his indie trade. He made a tankobon version of his comic book. So he collected his first collection. The first 4 issues are collected in a tankobon, instead of doing a traditional graphic novel. He sells out of. He goes to all the conventions. He's been sold out since yesterday. He's at Dallas Fan Expo today, and he showed a picture of his table, all sold out. Sorry, and that's consistent wherever he goes. But he reformatted his book, so he had the traditional 8.5 by 10 pages. You know what I mean? So what he did was he had to rearrange the panels. You know what I mean? He just had to make a new layout for the panel pages. So it's a little bit different in the tankobon. He did not shrink the page down. He kept the panels a little bigger. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I see as as something that's a little bit of a little iffy for those compact formats. You know what I mean? And thank you. Cool. And good luck. Bring a lunch and a trail of breadcrumbs to bring you back home. But Amazing Spider-Man 51, we have really good art by Ed McGuinness, and he's got inks by Todd. You got Ed McGuinness and Todd Knock, and you've got real pencils, you've got real inkers, and it really looks it too. I mean, there's one thing that Amazing Spider-Man has got going for it. It's got the best artists they're throwing at, or the most consistently good, in my humble opinion, I guess, too, because a lot of people apparently don't like John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna's work as much as I do. I think he tickles me pink, yo. What do you think, Pika? Really? Pika P. That's great. Thanks, kid. But it's Peter's been infected with some goblin energy, and now it's this goblin spider against the Sinister Six. I gotta say, I love it when Peter's a bit evil. He's got that sense of humor and its snideness, his one-liners, and he's beating up he's like, he's not just making fun of him, he's burning, he's dunking on these chuds as he's dunking on these chuds. It's really fun. Yeah, and that is it for the 14 different Marvel comics we read this week. Hang on to your hats, kids. We're going into overdrive any second now. We're going to be doing DC comic books. That's right. And let's see. The review was initially published before the embargo list, and now what? Oh, okay. I got a community note. I got one of these alerts on Twitter saying like someone put a note to my I replied to. It was like, okay, that makes sense. These community notes on Twitter are actually pretty interesting. I like it. Don't let me get caught up here looking at Twitters. Well, firstly, if you don't have a comic book store where you live, there is information within the description of this very show. I shop there myself several times. Friend of our show and my often panel mate member, Yul Carter, Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California. His details are in the description. Your business with him is your business with him, but I'm sure he can put together a pull list for you, and you can put together a system. You could be your very own mailbox away from having a local comic book shop. Seriously, Yul Carter from Fantastic Comics has hooked me up on at least 4 different occasions so far, and I've been satisfied every time. He ships it it comes within a week. I give him money on PayPal. He immediately gets me a tracking number. It's at my house within a week. I'm in Boston and he's in Berkeley, California, so it travels the entire distance of our great country and continent. And they're always in a Gemini mailer, and they're always packed really nicely. And he's my friend, so he always throws in something extra for me too, which is nice. And he can get you variant covers. And I've always been really, really pleased with Yul Carter. So if we have to be careful online, and I trust and recommend Yul Carter. And a couple of other people in this chat I know they will back me up on that because a bunch of us have shopped with Yul, and he's the owner and staff of Fantastic Comics. He also has a a show every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. I watch it in the morning, but he does a comic book show from a store owner's perspective. Plus, he's a huge fan. And he's just a really, really nice guy. And but yeah, there's a bunch of us. There's a bunch of us here in this very chat. You're looking at a bunch of fantastic comics customers, and you're in good company too. And but yeah, check him out. He'll be happy to get your business. And yeah, he's gotten me some really sweet variant covers, and just like, oh wow, I was like too late to get to my comic book shop, and they're already sold out. You got this, Yule? And yeah, so I'm just I shop with Yule. I do. I like to say I'm blessed and grateful. In this Boston area, I've got 7 different comic book shops in striking distance of my fortress of solitude. And they're all within an hour, and they're all available on public transportation as well. All right. And he's got he's on Facebook, I believe. I don't Facebook. But yeah, you go to Fantastic Comics at Facebook, I believe, or on Patreon. You can check him out there too. And but you can also just like, if you can get a hold of him through his YouTube show, his YouTube link that's here in the description of the show. Also his Twitter link. That's probably the quickest way to get a hold of him, I would say, is drop him a DM or send him a tweet and be like, hey, Sully sent me. And Kerry. And Lane, and everyone else in the chat who shops from Yule, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, tell them oh yeah, the Sully show send us, see what happens, and thanks for asking, and I'm glad we can help. And so we got DC Comics to read this week. How many did we read this week? DC Comics, Ocho. We got 8 comics. Let's start off with Batman 118. It's the conclusion of this part of the failsafe story. And it's got wonderful art by Jorge Jimenez. Chip Zdarsky lands the story. He does it well. Okay, it's a superhero story. He does it pretty, you know what I mean? It's just like he's been all over the place, literally all over the multiverse. And I've been around the world and I can't find my Batman. I don't know when, I don't know why he's gone away, and I don't know where you can be. Use the bat signal, Commissioner Gordon. Been around the multiverse, looking for my Batman. What a derpy individual. What did I walk into here? What is going on, forsooth? We really like to have fun. This is a fun show. I like having fun. I think that we need to remember at all times that we come together in this sphere to have fun, to embrace our escapisms, and that's not to embellish our entitlements, especially when it comes to outrages, both real and fabricated. We're going to be getting a bit more into the outrage section of our fandoms in our culture at the end of the show. I'm getting ready for 420, of course. I hope that isn't demonetized. I'm not going to fire it up on camera. Putting my needle and my spoon together, Batman 148. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, it was coming close to Batman 150. You whoop-de-doo. It was okay. Sure. Robin's got Tim Drake got a new suit. Looks fine. I like it. I love the art in it. Great fight scenes. I mean, Jorge Jimenez is really good at his job. This is DC's flagship title. It's the same thing what they're doing with Amazing Spider-Man. They have the best of their best of who they got right now. And they threw the best art talent at it as well. So, I mean, Batman's like really covered on Jorge Jimenez. It's really good stuff. We got Birds of Prey number 10. by Kelly Thompson and company, and it's not made for me. No, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, sure. I mean, yeah, girls. That's it. Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't want to come off. I don't want to come off as once again as shitting on the creators. I don't. It's just more. You know what? Because we're going to talk well of Kelly Thompson at the end of this. With what's in the bag? What's in the bag? With stuff in the bag. All right, it's going to happen. But I'm not happy with the art in it. I mean, it's okay. Oh my goodness. Can it be? It's General Balzac. Ladies and gentlemen, I salute thee. Ha ha! And you might know his underling, Major Woody, in Private Parts. Let's see. DC Pride, a celebration of Rachel Pollack, one shot. Really good stuff. We got 2 reprints of some early Rachel Pollack. Rachel Pollack has passed away, and she was one of the first transgender women to be published in DC Comics of any notoriety. Just who had their struggles in the late 20th century. She wrote Doom Patrol after Grant Morrison on early Vertigo. So she's got this interesting body of work. So, thank you, General. Oh, that's nice of you, man. And then there's a third part of the story, which is kind of set in the Unstoppable Doom Patrol canon. The Chris Burnham stuff, the new stuff, the Dennis Culver, Chris Burnham, Unstoppable Doom Patrol that just came out. And they've brought back this character, and it's written by Joe Corallo. Now, Joe Corallo is a friend of the show, friend of a friend. Joe is kind of like, I don't think I've been on a panel with Joe himself, but Joe is a friend of Yule's. Joe is a friend of Wes's. Joe is a friend of Perch's. They're all at each other's shows, and yes, and actually he just started following me on Twitter last week. So I was like, oh, that's nice. Joe knows who I am, and that makes me happy. Like, oh, cool, yay, because I've been following him, and so this is my first. It was sold out on Wednesday. I need to go back and pick this up because I want to buy some Joe Corallo books. I want to get a sense of his storytelling. You know what I mean? He's an interesting guy. He's out of New York City, and AL has met Joe at New York City Comic Con. That's cool. He's a nice guy, huh? And he is a nice guy. He comes across as very authentic, and he's out of the closet gay. He's very huge into LGBTQ plus advocacy and stuff. So just like you wonder where, why don't I like some of the tones that come out of my fandom spheres, especially when it sounds downright homophobic, because there are people, typical gay people everywhere in my life. And aren't they in yours too? It's just a joke. You sound like an asshole. Yeah. So hopefully I can get more. Maybe Yule's sitting on a stack and he can sell it to all of us. Let's all hit up Yule for all of his Rachel Pollack pride. I would. I maybe I should. I mean, hey, you got my pride issue, and then it starts from there. You got my Rare Flavors 6 for me, and a volume, in a variant cover. I'm gonna need that. And he's hooked me up with a few issues of Sickness and Rare Flavors. Something that sometimes when it comes out, if you're not quick enough, it's already gone on Wednesday, because that's what comic book shops do. They cover their pull lists, and they only get a couple for the shelves. They don't want to be stuck with product that they can't sell. We're going to be getting into some Distillery, The White Boat by Scott Snyder and Francisco Francavilla in just a couple of minutes. Yeah, sure. I mean, like, and just like, and hopefully he gives it back as well as he gets it. But and then there's like, there's a line, and you don't cross it. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know. I just, maybe it's because I'm getting old and sentimental and less acerbic and less toxic and less confrontational and more of live and let live, love and let love. And, but with that said, use people got to be better at self-correcting your own culture and not letting the creeps and weirdos speak for you. That's coming from Salty. Enough said. That's all I got to say on it. I've spoken. That's it. Not a finger. But yeah, I have to go back and find my copy of Rachel Pollack Pride. That would be great. Neil Pavor Zod, number 6 of 12. Put a pin in that, as my therapist says. It's in the bag. What's in the bag? Don't spoil all the fun. My Adventures with Superman, number 1 by Jody Campbell. It's done in the style of the new animated-inspired My Adventures with Superman cartoon show, which we have an Asian Lois Lane and an African-American Jimmy Olsen. And yeah, it's I'd like to be mean to it and say like my DEI was Superman, but that's not going to help. I hear it's a good show. So hey, like, look at the multiverse and this Earth, that's how Lois is, and this Earth, that's how Jimmy is. Okay, don't be a bigot, don't be an Esther, don't be a phobe, don't be that guy, don't be that chud. I'm gonna have to dunk on you. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and so it's like, yeah, I just like, and so, yeah. And Poison Ivy, number 23 by G. Willow Wilson, doing the yeoman's work. People are sleeping on this title. It's pretty darn good. And it's a lot like old Alan Moore Swamp Thing, in my humble opinion. Not as good as that. I don't want to, but I like the art style, even with its digital filters and stuff, I appreciate it for what it is. And I really appreciate G. Willow Wilson for just cranking out decent stories. But once again, Josie Campbell, Shazam number 12. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'm going to play with you again. And I see your hammer in my hair. I get the feeling that the rose will drown. In the world, oh my God. What? Oh, Shazam. I was hoping not to get struck down by lightning. Shazam! It's just, yeah. I mean, eventually, this show, the book is going to turn into Mary Marvel's story. I can just tell you already. Depends on how long the title's going on, how long Josie Campbell is going to be writing for it. Josie Campbell's already written a Mary Marvel miniseries and the Amazon Attacks mini that tied into Tom King's first 6 issues of Wonder Woman, where Mary Marvel was, a big part of her all-girl team there. And so I think that's because Billy Batson is now tortured and troubled. And he's never been that way. Like, oh, it's modern audiences. That's not. No, Billy Batson is a plucky, resilient, nice kid. He's really smart. He's not genius brilliant. He's gifted to have the wisdom of Solomon in his superhero form. But as kid smarts go, he's a pretty quick kid. He's a city kid. You know what I mean? He thinks on his feet. He's pretty bright. His head's on a swivel, And I don't like the Billy Batson that Josie Campbell's trying to sell us. So it's a loss for me. And then Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum 5 of 5, which is the official comic prequel to the Rocksteady video game Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which was a huge flop and a huge disappointment. And but let me tell you, John Layman writes this, and it stands up. I just walked into this last issue of a story I don't know anything about, but guess what? It's engineered like a comic book should be. I just opened it up and I enjoyed the slice of a story. And it's focused on King Shark, who's part of the Suicide Squad, you know, or is it Sharkman, or is it King Shark? I think it's King Shark. And it worked. And it had some pretty decent art. AL. She's a firebrand. Watch out. They have to earn my money with good books. Exactly. Well, hopefully we can find you a good book that you're gonna like, and that you don't mind, that you'd be proud to spend your money on. You know, because it is Pride Month, and we should have comic book pride, and not just pride on comic books. We should have pride about comic books. And that's it for DC Comics this week. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Throw another Dan Slott comic on the fire. And dear. And let's see. Here we go. Hey, Fear Monarch, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Shark Man, maybe. That's coming up in just a moment. Don't worry. We're gonna do that after we finish reviewing this week's comic books. And we're getting to the end of that because we're getting to what's in the bag, and then we're gonna get into some ACOLYTE outrage, and then we're gonna talk about what happened in Dallas last night at the Friday Night Tights meetup, or was it the Ripperverse meetup? Or I was supposed to go. I had plans on going. We're gonna get there. So into the ACOLYTE too. And if you need, let me know. I can always go and get something to. If you need to take a break, have a pee. Where are we? Let's look at this page. Let's present this page. Let's present the page that I go to where I read my pirated comics, which I got this from your boy Zach, from just watching his show. Like, oh, that's where he gets his. Let me try this. Oh, okay. What did I read on this? Let's see. None of these. Let's see. Poison Ivy. Yeah. This is where I read my Poison Ivy. Still got the Dawn of DC trade dress. Birds of Prey number 10. Still got the Dawn of DC trade dress. Now here's White Boat by Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla. And it's beautiful. I love Francavilla's style. And it's an interesting, macabre, spooky tale. And when these two get together, this is what this is usually their antics. I think they first got together way back in Batman: The Black Mirror, telling the tale of the flashbacks of Jim Gordon Jr. when Dick Grayson was the Batman. But Francavilla is all in one. He does pencils, he does inks, he does colors. And I just love his style. He has a hand in what happened to Afterlife with Archie. He was doing the artwork on Afterlife with Archie, and which stopped at issue 10, and we will never get issues 11 and 12. But I love his artwork. I love his style, and and these two team up a lot. And this is Distillery. It's oversized. It's on cardstock cover, a really good paper. It's got a hold on one second. All right. Happy 420. That's right. And it's okay. You know, last time it came out 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago at my local comic book shop. And there's still 8 copies left this past Wednesday. I counted. I was thinking about getting one. And then I read, I read the pirate copy here, and I was like, nah. On second thought, because I did the same thing with recently with Sean Gordon Murphy's Zorro, Man of the Dead, and I got the first issue, and I was just like, you know what? No, I'm gonna pass. I usually get everything he makes, We read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha by Jason Aaron, with art by Chris Burnham. And there's going to be a new issue number 1. IDW is kind of rebooting their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stories. And there's 2... So I like Chris Burnham's art. Like he just did Unstoppable Doom Patrol. He did Batman and Robin with Grant Morrison back in the day. He's got this very much like this kind of like Frank Quietly kind of style to him. He also did a really stinker, I think, in my humble opinion, on Image with Grant Morrison called Nameless. 8 issues, and it was like very torture porn. It was just, yeah. And it's about this. It kind of opens up like Eli Roth's Hostel, where someone rich can come in and fight a mutant animal, and this is just how the story starts, and this is where the beginning is going. And it's kind of a little reminiscent too of the Kevin Eastman stuff too. I kind of like that. And but yeah, Jason Aaron wrote this. Chris Burnham drew it. And that is the beginning of the new. That's cool. Let's see. I read this, Sons of Star Trek. Okay, let's look at this for a second. Okay, well, let's see. We've got who's who here. That looks like Alexander Oshenko, Jake Sisko. That's Q Jr. Okay. That's Nog. That's Commander Shaw. As opposed to Liam Shaw of Captain Liam Shaw of the USS Titan B in Picard season 3, played by Todd Stashwick. One of the best. I loved this. You know what I mean? For someone that hates New Trek, thank you, Robert Mayer Burnett. You were right about Picard season 3, and we are rooting for you. Make sure are you drinking orange juice? Send your husband to the store to get you some chicken soup, please. I know he can't cook. He relies on you for that. But you're down on the you're down on the count. Say, baby, you got to take care of me. All right, so Jake, Alexander, and Nog. Yep. And they're in a different timeline. and so Jake, Alexander, and Nog are in a different timeline because of Q Junior's mucking about with stuff. This is Morgan Hamilton. But okay, group editor Heather Antos, assistant editor Vanessa Real, editorial assistant Cassandra Jones. And that is your editorial staff for Star Wars. Not very diverse. You couldn't have had one guy in there. Nope. It's not what it's. This isn't about Star Trek stories. It's about the publishing industry. It's very nice. These are very nice photorealistic. The art. The art's not that bad. As a Star Trek fan, I could read this, and it was easy to read. You know what I mean? Geez, I've watched Deep Space Nine. They brought in the Breen in the last 3-4 episodes in the last season of Deep Space Nine to as some kind of weird Alpha Quadrant evil Axis power to help with the Dominion War and to help the Cardassians and the shapeshifters, the changelings. There you go. Awesome. Get her a Pikachu. You know what I mean? I think Pikachu's cute, but I'm a Pikachu person myself. I'm not. I choose you, Pikachu. And Alexander Roshenko. He's Worf's son. That's Nog. From Deep Space Nine. That's Jake Sisko from Deep Space Nine. And they're in some kind of other universe where the Cardassians are part of the Federation, and that's Mariner from Star Trek Lower Decks. And she's on the cover too. Okay, and that's Jadzia Dax and she is a doctor on the Enterprise she works under Beverly Crusher. She's Beverly Crusher's second in command in the med bay. Dr. Ogawa. Yeah. But that's Jadzia Dax and using Terry Farrell as a visual model because remember, her character dies and she goes to be with Ezri Dax after that. And interesting. And that's Tuvok. Tuvok and Neelix. So this is called Tuvix. There was a transporter incident on Voyager where Tuvok, the Vulcan, and Neelix, the chef of Voyager, were merged into one, new being, no new person. And it's one of those Star Trek episodes where it's like you struggle with okay, we could kill you if we try to separate you by reversing the transporter accident. But also, do we have the right to be doing this because you are your own unique person? One of those wonderful Star Trek things, man. And that's one of the best parts of the show, in my humble opinion. But this wasn't that bad of an issue. And just coming into, a new story in medias res, in the middle of the action, all these familiar characters, old and new, and it wasn't all that bad. Sons of Star Trek 3 of probably 4, maybe. Let's see, what else did we read this week? Yeah, Get Fury. That's bloody and awful and good. Beyond the Pale. I read this. This is about it's one of 4. And it's about a photographer, a photojournalist in 1968 on assignment in Vietnam with the war. And she's been given a tip that soldiers are disappearing and are going missing. And she got this intel from a soldier who barely made it out and who shouldn't have been talking about it, but he had to talk to somebody. They got to know what's going on over here. And so she goes, and then it ends up being something like supernatural, are these huge vampire bats that are coming in and swiping away these GIs on patrol in the middle of the Vietnamese jungle, and so it's just issue 1, but
You know, it's interesting. It's a part war story, part supernatural story, and it's 100% something I never would have read. And I was, hey, let me just pick this up and give it a try. You know, make sure you give something a try. Wolverine Blood Hunt. And they also, I like this service, this site too, because they have these exclusive online, the unlimited stuff, Infinity Comics. And these are just straight to digital. And some of them are pretty interesting. And I've taken a peek at a few of them. Now, I refuse to read Space Ghost #2 by David UP Post. And people are liking it, though. And it's like a serious take on Space Ghost. I read the first issue just to give it a try, even though Mr. P. Post is, one of those people. What do you mean, one of those people? I mean, the people that block you in group blocks. You know how I feel about that. Yeah, I mean, it's too serious of a take on too nice of a character, benign of a character. This is what Alan Moore did to Marvel Man in 1981, therefore bringing in the dark ages of comics. It was the first subversion of hyper-reality trauma and ghoulish choices and consequences foisted upon usually benign, sunny, cheery Silver Age heroes, or Bronze Age heroes. So, yeah. Sorry, Mr. Pepos, but you. I read this 2000 AD because this is the Great British comic book. It's a weekly, and this is the home of Judge Dredd. It's got interesting art. It's European, man, and it's anthology. It's got it's got a funny. This is what we call funnies. There's 4 panels here. Droid Life by Cat Sullivan. I wonder if she's any relation. And it's just supposed to be just a little funny pages, and then it goes into part 4 of a Judge Dredd story, and it's like Judge Dredd in hell. And I barely know Judge Dredd. I know enough about Judge Dredd that I can follow this, and it's actually really interesting. Like hellish, look at this art, but this is, and then it just cuts into another European style sci-fi book. And just, this is some good stuff. This is, oh, wow. That is 2000 AD. Boy Wonder #2 by Junie Ba. That came out this week. I skipped that. I got the last issue. And so I read this one here. And I'm like, nah, I just, it's not doing it for me. At least I had the courage to, it's Black Label. People are wondering why it's Black Label. I think it's because you had a child commit an act of a killing, beheading. Damien beheads a mugger, and that's what got him in trouble. That's what put him in timeout. And now he's got to rediscover and find out who he is. You know what I mean? Boy Wonder was great. I mean, I liked it. Was Jason Todd blind? Is that what I'm supposed to presume from his eyes when he takes off the mask by the end of the book? You want to see? You see what I'm talking about? So this is just, the Red Hood, Jason Todd. I like the design on this. I like the R on his vest. And I like the old style helmet. I don't like the hood with the breathing mat, with the N95 mask. I mean, that's got to go. Oh, God. How tasteless. You know what I mean? If I want to see people with masks, I'll go on the subway. There's and there's only 1 out of every 30 people do that anymore. But I like it, I mean, it's got some the art's pretty good, but he's just
you know, he's about to take off his helmet and have his supper, which is a candy bar. And he's just in an argument with his little brother, you know. You see, that's what happened, you know. That's, you know, maybe that's why it's Black Label. I like the onomatopoeia, because it's hand drawn. It might be on a tablet, but still that is authentic onomatopoeia. That's part of the artist's vision. That is part of the panel. That is part of the art. And some kind of like look at that dash, pow, flip, swoosh. I might go back and get it, but it's like I'm a huge Jason Todd fan, so it's like, oh, okay, this is like that he did this to his eyes, so maybe he's just still getting over it. I have to wonder, you know, see when he takes off his, you know, is Jason, what's this? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I hope my computer doesn't get sick. You think so? Oh, let's stop looking at pirated comic books then. Maybe that's a sign. Let's go talk about comic books instead that we bought here with our very own money, that are physically here. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? That's what we play every week. What's in the bag? Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 funny books this week. Spent about $32. Got The Last Mermaid for $4 on Image Comics. It's got a unique dimensions design. It's square, but I like the world that's being built. I like the story. I like the characters. I like the journey. It's very, it's very much like these are, like this is a movie production and these are storyboards. So this is like a storyboard for an anime. Yep, and we've got 2 more issues of this left. Yeah, and just taking a chance on a new comic book. It's all good. What else do we have? We've got Neil Pavord Zod, number 6 of 12, which is pretty good. And let's see if you can see this. I will have to deal with you later, Yule 9. That's General Zod talking to his robot, you know, who's flying, who's up in the bridge, you know. That's Yule. Named after Yule Carter of Fantastic Comics in Berkeley, California, friend of Joe Casey, who's been on Yule's show a few times. So this is a legit Yule Carter reference in a comic book by one of his friends. Apparently, he's also in Eric Larson's Savage Dragon number 170. I can verify that. So if you ever see it in the wild, you're more than welcome to pick up a copy and send it his way. Let me double check this. Comics Want. See, I got a list of comic books that I'm looking for. And like Wolverine number 25 by Mark Millar and Romita Jr. and Klaus Janssen, because I got the other 11. I need that last one. Hey, Adam Frey. What is up? Awesome. Indeed. Carrie, Nerdy Girl Creates. Can you help Adam Frey? if you're still out there. Indeed. It's actually issue 171 of Savage Dragon. I'm on the lookout for this, and if I find it, I'm going to send it to Yule because he's apparently inside the funny book. It's inside the papers. We've got Get Fury #2 of, I think it's 6, written by Garth Ennis. It's Marvel Max, explicit content. It's 1971. Captain Frank Castle has been sent behind enemy lines to liberate Colonel Nicholas Fury. Hilarity ensues. So there's lots of gruesome war comic stuff. And this is pretty good. And it really goes for the gut. And I think I got to read it again because it's fun. It's fun to reread these comic books. And here we go. Scarlet, #1 by Kelly Thompson. This is #1 of 5. So Duke is over. Cobra Commander is over. Now we're getting 2 more 5-issue minis. This time we've got Scarlet by Kelly Thompson and Company. And then we're going to have Destro by Dan Waters and Company. Another 5-issue limited. And it's pretty good. I mean, it's like I feel like I've seen this before. And it's in it was in Birds of Prey. I'm trying to find that page. I was like, sorry. I'm getting dazed and confused. But yeah, it's here we go. See this double spot? This is a double splash page. A splash page could just be one side of this. A double splash page means 2 sides to it. So check it out. I mean, this is just Scarlet running the gauntlet, taking out a room full of Arishikage ninjas. That's okay, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, I've seen this same kind of sequence in Birds of Prey. You know what I mean? Just like, I don't mind it. I'm not picking on it. I'm not shitting on it. I'm more of just, I can't help but notice it. That's here. Let's look at the first couple of pages. So this is your opening 4-panel sequence. We're in Monaco. How much of that is how much of that is drawn, and then comes your digital stuff. But I'm overlooking that shit. Yeah, a little thick, huh? Thick thighs save lives. How's that? Works for Huntress. Works for me. Oh, she's got nice open-toe sandals there. See, I give it up to any artist that can draw feet. They are notoriously hard to draw. Feet and hands. Seriously, it's just like because they just maybe too many points of articulation, too much shadow. Something about feet and hands. It just eludes some artists. Really does. So I'm always like, when I see good feet and hands on a drawing, I'm always, hey, your feet and hands look really good. Just want to let you know. And thank you. I always get that is like night and it's like night follows day. Artist appreciates when you notice that because, I busted my ass learning how to draw proper hands and feet. But yeah, we got lots of pretty girls. I mean, remember, this is written by a lady and edited. And there's how many ladies are in the editors? We got Ben Abernathy. Ben Abernathy is the editor. Here we are. It's in print right there. We've been talking about this. It's one of our subtexts to talking about the previews. Ben Abernathy has been the group editor of the Batman family of books for a couple of years now. He just stepped aside and went over to Skybound. Here he is at work over here. Indeed. We've got The Sickness on Other Books. This is Uncivilized Books. for $6. And we have 2 timelines. There are 2 stories going on. Your A story in 1945, your B story 10 years later in 1955. I can't tell you what's going on. I needed to wait until it was all it was done so I can just go back and read the whole thing. But it's just this simple black and white pencils. And they're disturbing and macabre and grotesque. And it tells this real odd story of just like, is it hallucinations? Is it madness? Is it an incursion of supernatural dimensions into our Midwestern lives? Are there really things growing off of your neck and off the walls? This thing is just so well drawn by Jenna Cha. This is a real. I like this comic book. I like it a lot, and it might be collected for you pretty soon. I'll let you know if I find a collection. But just, I've been so happy just to to be part of this horror experience. I love horror. Wow, this is just so gross. It's nightmarish. It really is. Really? For Squirrel Girl? $100? That's a key issue. I pointed this out, I think, a week ago when I was reading it, and I read it on the Pirates. And this is Precious Metal, and this is a prequel to something called Little Bird I didn't even know about. But this is just so Euro. It's like Jean-Gérard Mobius. I mean, this is like, it's a bit like Frank Miller's Ronin, original Ronin. It's a bit like, Frank Miller and Jeff Darrow's Hard Boiled. This is really good sci-fi. It's grotesque. It really uses the medium, and it's just I really like this a lot. This is about art. This is about storytelling. It's about sci-fi and horror and gumshoe noir. There's a hint of Blade Runner in here. This is pretty good. Here's a suggestion from the channel to you. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't want to buy big 2 books, maybe take a chance on Precious Metal. And then we've got Bear Pirate Viking Queen, issue 2. And I didn't know this was even coming out. And I saw it. I'm like, all right. Issue 1 was so much fun. Look at the art. It is just so like 1991 Vertigo to my eyes and my tastes. I'm loving it. This is just so good. I mean, look at the lettering is almost its own character. I like when that happens. I'm really thrilled when this happens. Okay, that's it for comic books for this week. Let's get to the ACOLYTE, because I did put that in the headline of the show. So let's at least get to those 2 things. The ACOLYTE had some more hullabaloo this past weekend. Episodes 1 and 2, they come out every Tuesday. So episodes 3 and 4 won't be available until Tuesday. But, friends in the biz have been spoiled. Have review copies. They get their review copy came a week before last week, and they had the first 4 episodes. How many? Let's ask to the Googles. How many episodes for the ACOLYTE? 8 episodes, and the first 2 episodes, on Tuesday, June 4th at 6 p.m. Pacific on Disney Plus. And then it's going to release 1 episode at a time. Okay. And so spoilers. You need a spoiler alert. This is your spoiler alert. All right. We're going to be talking about potential story beats from the next 2 episodes. So, I mean, that's part and parcel of what's going on. And we're just kind of continuing last week's conversation about this too. If like you're leading up, if your outrage about the Acolyte is leading off with queerness, I can't fucking be with you on that. Even if you're coming at it religiously. I mean, even if you're coming religiously, I mean, if you're religious, then you know what I mean? That's your covenant with God. Don't worry about the sinners. The sinners have to worry about their own covenant with God. I mean, you just have to worry about, I mean, you literally have to think parochially, like your parish, you and your fellow parishioners, and think global, think locally, but act globally. Kind of what? Act locally and think globally. But I get it. I mean, I'm not even trying to bring religious, because people have religious reasons. You know what I mean? Even if you're Christian, and your Christian stuff can even go with Jewish people and Muslim people as well, who have the same, prohibitions. All right then. But okay, so 2 things came about with the Acolyte this past week. One was the now famous soundbite about Leslie Headland, showrunner, writer, visionary, in an interview. But then another thing came out with an 18-second clip of Amanda Stenberg, who plays the dual role, the lead role of the twin sisters. One is evil, one is good, balancing the force. And so the spoiler part is that we find out that the mother of the good and evil force twins here were of a lesbian couple, and there was some force. The will of the force, parthenogenesis. What is parthenogenesis? Parthenogenesis means the creation of life without pollination, so asexual reproduction. I hear you exactly, and like these are the things that get clicks, that get the metrics, that gives the illusion of traction, and like, hey, people are talking about the show, people, you know what I mean? That's all, this moment, I mean, all this, we get all the attention, so one of the sites I follow sporadically here. Okay, I'm a big Friday Night Tights fan. I used to be. I still am, and I always will be. It's just hard these days. Friday Night Tights is a group production of Nerdrotic and Geeks and Gamers. Geeksandgamers.com. With their their head over the head Cobra, the Cobra Commander over there, Jeremy Griggs, good guy. I like him. He was an acquired taste. But Geeks and Gamers yesterday dropped this whole thing about a tweet about I took a picture of it because I had the ability to, because so can you see that? The Acolyte star and showrunners insult Star Wars fan. White people crying was the goal. And there's Amanda Stenberg talking to Trevor Noah. And that was a tweet they made yesterday. I only took a picture of it because I responded to them. Because sometimes some things just don't add up. There's a lot of outrage farming out there, and just people stirring the pot for what reasons, for why. Well, cui bono? Who profits? It was so important. I wrote it down on my arm. So I responded to them with this. Hey, geeks and gamers. I like you guys and gals. But what are you trying to do here? How am I supposed to take you seriously? This is outrage farming. What's the point? And I got a couple of nice, responses too from Cap and Ginger Ninja too, and because we're all just like, Ginger Ninja's got it. Like, yep, I think they know it too. I mean, everyone knows it. I've seen a lot of rage bait from both sides. It's tiring. But guess what? You see this up here? This post was deleted by the author. They deleted their post. And like I responded. I mean, I seem to have been one of the only people to push back on this. There was like several other, like, hey, oh yeah, oh, they're after us. Oh, all this stuff. And just like, but what I did like the day before on June 7th, like, I smell a fart in the room. You know what I mean? It wasn't me, but just something stinks here. You give me a 17-second clip that she definitely says, oh yeah, we want to make white people cry. That was like, and it's like, it was an out of context soundbite from an October 27th, 2018 interview from 5.5 years ago. From 5.5 years ago. It was a movie called The Hate You Give, which was based on a book that came out the year before, which was based upon a real life shooting of an African-American teenager at a transit station by a transit cop, and about the impact that had on that boy's family and his community after such an unfair loss of life. And it's talking about race and here you have two mixed people. Trevor Noah has a white father, and I believe Amanda Stenberg has a white father, and they both have black mothers. So I mean, they have their own very unique race, and right to have their opinion about stuff like this. But you know what? This is 6 minutes long, so we saw 17 seconds from a 6-minute long interview segment. So what I did was I gave this the ability of, I gave this 6 minutes of my life so I can fairly judge this better, because I'm really sick and tired of all of this outrage culture, especially in Star Wars, how everything's being weaponized. But guess what? Whoever clipped that 17 seconds of this girl saying this line has weaponized this and then cut and paste it onto the Star Wars hubbub. And it's got nothing to do with Star Wars. And it's got nothing to do with the DEI stuff baked into Star Wars. This is a completely separate thing. And guess what? We're gonna watch a little.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And congratulations on a stellar film that is people. It's inspiring people. I mean, I saw people cry in the cinema at the end of the film because it really is gripping. For those who haven't seen the trailers or know nothing, I won't spoil the movie, but I'll tell you the plot. It's a story of a young girl played by yourself who is friends with a young boy who gets shot at a police stop. Story that we're all too familiar with. And that's just really the beginning of the story. Before we even get into the story itself, I have to ask, is there a difficulty that comes with playing a character or telling a story about something that's happening now all the time?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was kind of a deeper sense of responsibility with the way that we approached it, and knowing that we had to reflect events that were real, and so we had to commit ourselves as fully as we could to it in order to honor the lives of those who've been affected by things like this.
Right, and we watched the story unfold. And a lot of the time, it feels like, you watch in the news and they'll go, a black boy was shot by, and the names become secondary, and that's why so many people say their names. But what we also forget is all the other people who were emotionally shot, all the families that were affected, and that's really what the story is about.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be, so it's based on this book by Andy Thomas, which is incredible, and I highly suggest that you read it if you haven't. But it's supposed to be a tool of empathy, so oftentimes we see these events portrayed on the news and in media, but usually they're misconstrued, or they're at least postulated so they don't fully humanize the people of color who are killed and affected by these events. And so that's what this is supposed to be a tool to do. It's supposed to ground it in a personal narrative, and hopefully people will have a sense of empathy because of that. And so far, it's been really successful. We have a lot of white people crying after it, which is great.
That's the joke.
I've never seen so many white people crying before. Like, it's amazing.
That's why I was like, that should be the new Rotten Tomatoes. It's like a little thing, white people crying score. It's like
exactly.
But I understand why so many people cry. And I think it's partly because of the empathy that you speak of. Your character plays an interesting role where she grows up in what many people, we call the hood, So she grew up in the hood, but she gets to go to a privileged school that is predominantly white.
Yeah.
Right? And she lives in this world where she code switches all the time. She's got her white friends, she's got her black friends, she lives between two worlds. And what happens is her friend who's black gets shot. Yeah. And now she's stuck choosing between these two worlds.
It's a really interesting
dilemma. And I wondered, like, as a person, was there anything in your life that you drew from, that you connected with when it came to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if you are black and living a contemporary black experience, you probably have code switched at some point in time, or are actively code switching in your everyday life. I know that you relate to that experience.
Right.
I read that in your book. By the way, my dad says that he loves your book.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. But yeah, it's a normal thing to do, but this is a high level of code switching. Because I mean, it's one thing to go from, hey, what's up, to good morning, sir. But it's another thing to code switch your allegiances. Because your character is a white school, and she's going, if I testify against these cops, or if I speak out, I will be seen as being anti-cop by my white friends.
Exactly.
And on the other side, if I testify, people will see me as a snitch. That's a difficult game to play.
Yeah, she's walking a really difficult line, but she comes to the conclusion at the end of the day that she can no longer compromise who she is, and that she needs to stand up for her community. She needs to be her most authentic self, and she'll no longer, put on her white voice in these spaces.
When you were filming the scene that we commonly refer to as the talk, it's a really interesting scene in the movie where you have your character's dad talking to the family repeatedly through their lives, saying, this is how you conduct yourself around police. This is always going to be a life-altering experience if you handle it the wrong way. You look at that story and you look at that scenario, there is a pain that comes with what happened. And there are often people who say, well, if you conduct yourself the right way, it won't happen. But unfortunately, that's not the truth.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's really tragic because we rob black children of their ability to be children. They have to be so careful about the way in which they act and present themselves from such an early age, because they even understand that they are not afforded childhood in the way that, their white counterparts are.
Right.
And here comes
looking at the film, looking at the response that it's gotten. What would you say your greatest hope and success would have been beyond the white people crying? When people watch The Hate U Give, what do you want them to walk away with? Because I know everyone has a slightly different feeling.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal.
There you go. And that's what we got in trouble for. Not just being hung up.
We wanted to make sure that those who have been affected by the way in which the media misconstrues these events actually have a real sense of empathy and are able to place themselves into the shoes of our communities and understand that these are not just news events; these are happening to real people. They affect us in really deep and pervasive ways. And then in terms of how it affects people of color, we wanted this to be a space within which we could be ourselves and see ourselves represented and feel validated by that, and maybe process some feelings that we don't ever have the opportunity to move through.
It's a powerful story. I think you've done all of those things and more. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
The Hate U Give will be in theaters nationwide on October 19th. I'm on the Stenberg, everybody.
This is a little bit more fairness. I hope I don't get struck for that. But what I did was I sped it up to 1x5 speed. I think that might be able to, the first 24 seconds weren't. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. And I don't mind losing a monetization for, talking about this. But I feel like, who's selling that to you and why? This is from October 27th, 2018, about a completely different subject matter, about a completely different skill set it takes to to understand a different story. I mean, who's selling you on that notion and why? Cui bono? Who profits? So important. I wrote it down on my arm. Something I believe in. This is one of my lenses of life. And so this is why, after I saw a 17-second clip of this kid saying, I was seeing the white people cry, I went and sought out the entire interview. And contextually, there's nothing wrong with, and that's part of the problem. And that, so people are leading off this week saying that, we've got, 2 lesbian mothers for these Force twins. oh, the DEI, oh, and it's just like, but seriously, I mean, I remember my aunt who's gay, and her girlfriend, and at the time, and they tried to raise a couple of kids. You know what I mean? And that was just that's called life. You know, gay couples can raise kids. There's a lot of hubbub and hue and cry, and people calling people degenerates, and people, you know, there's a very vocal minority of weirdos out there in every culture. I know another group of people that went around saying love is love and live and let live. We were Catholics. And guess what? It was a very small part of our community that abused people and took advantage of that. All right? It's like that in everyone's culture. There's always going to be that very small percent. And then, so, you know, seriously, I'd like to say to my gay friends out there, you know, can you police your own culture better? Seriously, they're making you look bad. AL's got a really good, you know, point to this. It's the same problem with Asian hate. Most of my community really believes that we are in danger when we leave our houses. I get flack when I say it's not as bad as they think. But you're in New York too, so please, always, I don't have to tell you to watch your back, but I will anyway because I like you. And but people like us, we're from cities. We have our heads are on a swivel. You need to know to trust the force. You know when something's going down. You know when, like, you know, don't, you know what I mean? You know what? Sometimes you got to cross the street, and sometimes you got to walk in the middle of the street. Yep. You know what I mean? Best way to shake a tail. So when someone thinks you are their mark and they're following you for a couple of blocks, walk in the middle of the street for a couple of more blocks. You'll lose that tail. They'll have to bring that fight out into the middle of a fucking street with traffic if they really want what you got. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's city smarts. But that was like my big bone to pick about that, because that's the big like outrage thing. So I was just like really it was really interesting to see that my friends at Geeks and Gamers deleted their tweet. I mean, I'm not saying they did it on my behalf. I'm not saying they did it because I did anything. But I did respond to their tweet. I did respond to like them just questioning their motive, being like, what are you doing here? They just posted the 17-second long clip from another account called End Wokeness. And guess what? Cui bono. I mean, sure. And G&G, they have their own flavor. They have their own side of the aisle. They push back on what they consider to be them being pushed, you know, to be them being leaned into by the message, by the agenda, you know. But sometimes follow the force. It just didn't add up to me. I thought it deserved a little bit more attention. 17 seconds of a Daily Show interview with Trevor Noah. I didn't think he was even, you know, host anymore. Didn't it go back to Jon Stewart? And so I, you know, I knew something was up. And so just and guess what? I trusted my feelings. Trust your feelings, Luke. I trusted my feelings, and I investigated. I thought about it a little bit more. I went an extra step, an extra level. And guess what? I was right. There was something fishy. There was nothing to be outraged about. If you're getting pissed off about this, and if you're, you know, if you really are, if you're pushing back with on the, you know, just on this wrong notion, then geez, you got some thinking to do. Are you that easily riled up? Do you believe clickbait? You know, I mean, we live in these times where we're always, so as I'm saying about our fandom spheres and about being easily riled up and about outrage and about churn. Now, you're about to see my Twitter. That's my Twitter feed. This is my Twitter feed. That's me, Reverend Sully. Yeah. 2001, marrying my friend Lisa and Chris. And it's a nice picture. That was a beautiful day. Barefoot in that robe, too. And see, that's the plainest robe you can get. and it makes the pictures look legit. That looks like a real wedding, right? That's Reverend Sully. I've been doing this for a while. I also had a really nice interesting conversation with Pops this week, talking about comic books, what new comics are worth reading. You go check that out if you want. I was on Wes's Thinking Critical yesterday, Comics Aficionados, for 2 hours and 45 minutes. We talked about some of the bests of in DC Comics. So what happened in Dallas last night? Okay, Dallas, Texas. And so this is part 2 of our fandom outrage shit. And 1 second, please. All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. And we are back. I had to blow my nose. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do that on, Thank you, Dwayne. That's a great way to put it. Way too many open mouths and never enough open minds. Minds are like parachutes. They only work when they're open. I think that too. So part 2, an outrage in our fandom cultures. Now, I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm not taking a side. I don't have a side in this. It's Eric July versus Ethan Van Sciver and the great civil war of the culture war. And what happened last night in Dallas? Okay, Dallas Fan Expo is going on this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yours truly almost went. I almost went so I can go hang out with Max von Priestley, Josh McDonald, Kyle, and Drew, and then there was also a Rippaverse meetup too, like an FNT Rippaverse Nerdrotic thing, with a lot of people, and 32 flavors of Nick Weiser was there too, and just like I really wanted to go and just hang out with everyone, and but I came to this conclusion. I was going to go a couple of months ago and just buy the plane ticket and everything and the pass. But I already bought my 3-day pass for Fan Expo Boston. And it's next weekend. Seriously. And it kind of sucks too because one of my best friends asked me to shoot some of his video for a gig he's doing at 5 p.m. So I'm gonna have to break up my day a bit, like doing con stuff, and then Sunday is Father's Day, and they you know what, they had to change sites and dates for Fan Expo, so they purposefully did this on Father's Day. Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that Sunday's Father's Day? Oh, fuck you guys, man. Yeah, I know, huh? So, yeah, I mean, he's got and also Ethan's coming from a unique perspective that I can respect too. I came from the projects. I didn't have a nanny, and I came from a single family home, and I also am an only child, so completely different skill set. But I learned how to take care of myself at a very early age, and that was because that was just life, And isn't Aaron? I don't know. I thought he was at a trade convention, and that's why he couldn't be on the show yesterday, or like. But I didn't know if he was going to Dallas or not. Trevor Noah is a twat.
And Amanda Steinberg is still a young, impressionable woman who has a lot of life to give. You would imagine that people will start to see with better eyes than that by now. Thank you, James. And so, so buttons. Yeah, so I'm just thinking like, oh, well, Sunday is going to be an extra ghost day at the convention too. And, but I have to, make room for my parents too. I mean, like, oh gosh, what a weekend. But it's good to have things to do and people that love you and that you're invited to places. And so I did not go to Dallas this year because of that. I'm going next year because Wes from Thinking Critical is coming to the States. He's in the Philippines with his family. He's bringing his eldest boy, who's be old enough to travel and see America for the first time. And we're gonna meet up at Dallas Fan Expo next year, and maybe even do Comics Aficionados Live. That's a dream. It could and should happen. It really should. Well, if we're all there on a Saturday, and maybe we can do it from a panel table. That would be fun. Actually, I was like, hey, if the FNT boys can do it, why can't we? We were all nodding our heads. And yeah, I like Nick Rekieta too. I actually watched his hour and a half long Rumble stream, his first one back, and I'm like, good on you. Good for doing that. Answer, just like, yeah, I like that. And yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm from the project, so it's just like the police bust down your door looking for drugs. It's like we call that a day that ends with Y. And you're like, oh, okay, you have to go stay at your auntie's house, or you have to go with DYS, Youth Detention Services, Yes. Sorry, it's not a lack of empathy. It's just a different lived experience. And Ethan had a different lived experience, and just like, and it could also be like, just generationally, like, kids and responsibility, and who knows? Every family has their own story and their own skill set. So, yeah, and hopefully they get better. But what happened last night in Dallas, Texas? All right, so there's a buyout at a restaurant where Eric has invited all of his friends, the Ripperverse meetup party. And, everyone's going to be there. I mean, probably, the Gary and maybe Max and, the whole gang, X-Ray Girl, Kara, Tugs, Melanie Mack, Jeremy Griggs, Eric July himself, the Soska sisters, the whole gang of just everyone you read about daily in these YouTube shows. And I watch a lot of Ethan, so it's not like I'm Team FNT or Team Eric July. I don't read Eric July stuff. I'm not buying his stuff. But also, it's just like I'm a big fan of Ethan, and like so, I kind of like I watch more of his shows than I do the other side shows. But I get friends on both sides. Like seriously, everyone I do panels with, there's a shitload of those people at Eric's party, at Ripper's party, like Josh and Max and Drew. You know what I mean? And Aaron Sparrow would have been there too, I think, if he wasn't there. Just like these are the people that I do shows with, that I have, legitimate, non-delusional, parasocial friendships with in this YouTube sphere, talking about this YouTube culture of pop culture and of comic books. All right. So, so there's been a lot of drama with Eric July and a certain, part of Ethan's side, and they're called the Clippa verse. That's Riley and his girlfriend Mint Salad. And so Riley shows up to the Clippaverse meetup at the restaurant and is outside like protesting. He's just doing, why is he doing this? Cui bono? Why? Well, it's kayfabe. What is kayfabe? Well, kayfabe is a wrestler's act. It's Roddy Piper never breaking character. When he goes home, he's Rodney Toombs, nice guy, husband, father. But as soon as he steps into that, he puts on the t-shirt and the kilt, and he doesn't come out of character. He's Roddy Piper, Roddy, so that's kayfabe.
So whoever this Riley guy is at home, you know what I mean? There's a person on camera, and that person is, getting a lot of traction through this drama with Eric July, where, so he was, it's just, I guess it was the restaurant themselves, because they had every right, because you're trespassing, it's private property, and you're legitimately harassing the client of a buyout of a catering party. And so they called the cops on him and they arrested him. And his girlfriend, Mint Salad, I like her. I follow her, and she's adorable. And but she does risque pinup stuff and different OnlyFans type of material. So these people are judged because of that. I'm more of like, sex trade's fine with me. You know what I mean? Just I don't watch that stuff. Just they're young people making money. But I mean, apparently, there was some meltdowns it had and stuff. Who knows? I didn't see the whole thing, but Riley got hauled off by the cops in cuffs, and it's just like, I'm so blessed and grateful that nothing bad happened, that nothing stupid happened. Because sometimes people get angry and do stupid things, especially if like you're in Texas and everyone's got a gun, and just like, I'm so blessed and grateful that nothing stupid happened to anyone. And that's the worst that happened. And, but one thing that I don't get, well, I do get, because it's cui bono, who profits, all right? You're making money out of this. You're getting clicks. You're getting super chats. You're getting traction. You're getting, people are buying your t-shirt. People are ordering your product. You know what I mean? It's about resources. And also it's like, I got this like rap quote from Dr. Dre from NWA. And it's like, it's about rap and it's about hip hop culture. And this was written in 1989, but it's universal of the whole experience. And so when I'm looking at this kayfabe of this YouTube drama, it's a lot like wrestling kayfabe, and it's a lot like rock and roll, like bands battling each other, literally fighting each other to get exposure. It's but also I see it a lot like hip hop music as well. And Dr. Dre said it best in NWA. You either talking about the place to be, who you are, what you got, or about a sucker MC. And that's like everything what was going on in this stuff is the place to be, who you are, what you got, and you're talking shit about a sucker MC. That's hip hop. And that's kind of like what's going on here with this, like, this culture war, civil war drama. But was that taking it too far? Riley doing that? Yeah, totally. I mean, shit. But also my other, a lot of these people in that room, I know they're Christian people. What happened to forgiveness? What happened to forward going? Did anyone in that party, maybe even Eric himself, could have said, hey, Riley, Mint, do you want to come in, sit next to me, have a drink, have something to eat? Can we have a moment of peace? Maybe break bread together? Have a moment of understanding? Did anyone suggest that? Be like, hey, I know you're mad at me and I know that we have beef, but are you hungry? Would you like something to eat real quick? We got plenty of food in here. Do you want to come in? Come on, hang out with us for a couple of minutes. Maybe we just need to degoss the negative, magnetic field around us just for a moment. Give yourself a chance to like each other. And has anyone thought of that on any part of the side? Because honestly, a lot of these folks are Christian. I follow a lot of these folks. Has anyone figured out a Christian answer to this? Because what does the Jesus that lives in your heart want out of this? What the Jesus that lives in your heart wants to get along with the Jesus that lives in the heart of your opponent. and of the stranger, and of your guests, and of your family, and of your friends, something like that. And I'm for like, there. You know what? Where is the adults in this room? They're here with me and Gray are the grown-ups. I'll tell you that. And Dwayne and James and AL. All the grown-ups are here. Hey, Vincent Flanagan. My favorite British weeb. Gray. I was ripping off Jürgen Proust now from Dune. If you wanted to know where that voice came from. Are you Genki? How you doing? How you feeling? Good? Are you Genki? Should I talk in my British accent because Gray is here? It pleases him to no extent. So let's do the rest of the episode in my British patois. Oh, behave there, you bumlooker. You cheeky monkey. I'm pretty hungover, mate. Ah, with all that water that you were spraying, you couldn't have drank a little. You'll feel better. Let's get you some pork tonkatsu in you, like two orders of it, please. But if you continue to escalate this shitty situation that's between Eric and EVS and there's two sides. See, I don't have any sides. I have a world. My world is round. Okay, I don't have a side in this. I don't have skin in this game. I don't care. I come to these spaces to relax, to enjoy myself, to have fun, not at someone's expense, not to call someone, not to eat sticks of butter, not to have meltdowns, not to freaking call gay people the F slur, say it's just a joke, it's my free speech. I don't do shit like that. This is that's the opposite of fun for me. And do I need to find a new space to relax in? Should I make my own space? I already have. Welcome. This is great. But we come to these spaces to unwind. How the fuck am I supposed to unwind when it's nothing but drama and churn and just constantly being wound up by someone else? And this whole thing, it's like, did you hear what Ethan said about Nick's kids? Who cares? It's an opinion. It's just an opinion. But showing up uninvited to someone's party like that and causing a ruckus and causing a scene. I mean, what if people were drinking? It's Texas. People are most definitely the probability is pretty great that they're armed. I don't know. This stupid shit happens, especially when you have grudge, when you have anger, and it's fueled by liquor. I don't know. But I'm grateful and blessed that nobody got hurt because of anything stupid. And when stupid things happen, that's when stupid things happen. But what we need are voices that's going to build bridges. And what we need is understanding, forward-goingness, and forgiveness. And not to escalate this any fucking further. Are you kidding me? I mean, this is how you have fun at other people's expense. I get that. That's a lot of people. Hey, that's gone out through history. People love watching executions. People love watching other people get tortured, burned at the stake. Look at you put someone in a cage and hang the cage up, and you go out there every day and watch them starve to death a little bit every day, and then you get to watch the birds feed on them. This is history. I'm not making that up. I saw that in a Knights Templar show. You know that one? It came out a couple of years ago. Mark Hamill was a Knights Templar. He was a pretty kick-ass role for an old dude. Is she doing it again? Gail Simone is out there trolling people again. I know she does it because she finds it funny. The problem is she's tripping up people who take her at face value. Right, and it's cheapening face value. And no. Well, it doesn't matter if it sells or not. She already got paid for it. She already wrote those. The things were done 6 months ago. You know what I mean? She'll be lucky if she'll be lucky if she's still writing it. It's so funny because these things are produced months ago. So our criticism, there is no real-time criticism when it comes to comic books, because these things are literally
done several weeks ago. They have to be printed, to be proofread, to be distributed. I mean, yeah, there is like, and so I mean, we have this weird illusion too, a part of this outrage cycle, that any of this shit matters because there is no real-time criticism. We are all, it's like criticizing astronomy. It's just like, oh, look, Antares is really, I wonder what it's going to do tomorrow. Oh, it's like, dude, motherfucker, that happened friggin', 56 light years ago. Something like that. I don't know. That's just my stupid allegory. But if you continue to escalate this bullshit between EVS and Eric July, you are the problem. Is Ethan the problem? He surely kind of is. I mean, he just can't quit, making fun of Eric. I mean, it's my least favorite. I don't have to watch Eric July. I watch Ethan. He's always talking about Eric. I don't have to watch FNT anymore. Ethan's always talking about those guys. I mean, especially Az and Rippa's show. I hate watching Az now. And I have to fucking watch Az. Sometimes I just skip over it too, because I just don't want to listen to his voice. And but it's just such a letdown. I was like, can you just be yourself? Oh, you were doing fine for years, man, before this whole trash cast foolishness. I mean, I know you want to smite your enemies, but Ethan is a Christian. He's a Mormon. What about the Jesus that lives in your heart, Ethan? What do you think he wants? Are you torturing that poor dude by torturing these people around you? Or does the Jesus in your heart want you to just forgive these people and get on with your life and draw your funny books that we all want to see and enjoy and pay you money for and read and you know what I mean? And have fun. This ain't fun anymore, man. It's fucking boring. And it's just, but it's like, I don't have to watch it. That is my choice to be part of this. Thank you for letting me go on about that for a little bit. But yeah, it started with the ACOLYTE, and that's about our culture, though. It's about our pop culture, this outrage culture. And we were somebody just tried to sell us on outrage, on being on the wrong idea. For why? And then we were trying to be sold on, oh no, it's gay, it's bad. No. You gotta, you can think that all you want. I'm not. I'm just not. And I'm not going to agree to it. And I'll respect your beliefs, but I will never go along with it. Especially if you're using the F slur, or you're leading off any of these criticisms about people's queerness. You know what I mean? I'm just fucking done with that. Live and let live, love and let love. There will always be creeps. And you might be one of them if you can't get off of this gay shit. All right. Happy Pride Month. Let's get to what else. Oh, Dune. I had Dune. Something about Dune here. Let's see. What did I say about Dune? I like Dune a lot. Oh no, you'll get it back. I mean, like your passport or your credit card? Here's something I thought of today. Now, I follow Quinn, Qui-Gon Dune here. That's Quinn's ideas. He's a great YouTuber. I mean, he's up there with Nerd Cookies and Robert Meyer Burnett with some of the coolest YouTube that you haven't seen yet. It's always good to find other Dune fans who like Three Body and Asimov and just just the good stuff, the deep stuff. So it started off just about the, someone answers Dune's question about it's Chupacabra here. It's like, okay, do you think the shots of the fetus inside Jessica in Dune 2 foreshadowing the look of the Guild Navigator? Because we haven't seen a Guild Navigator yet. And what we do have in Dune 2, we have some... when Jessica takes the water of life, she shouldn't have because she was pregnant. Therefore, her fetus has all the memories of a Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother.
and she's fully conscious. And her name's Alia, and she's got hindsight, and she's a tadpole of a fetus, not even fully formed yet, barely weeks after her conception. Okay, and this is where I'm going, because there's a huge filter in Dune about modernity, modern audiences, and specifically feminism, especially because fair or unfair, how it was represented by Frank Herbert originally in his Dune, and how some things are just problematic now. And especially with Dune, it's Rebecca Ferguson, yeah, and especially with her comments, it's, hey, I love it, you know it. Oh no, you're in the doghouse. But I just found it interesting because of this whole all these things about feminism, about stridency, about strong, stunning, and brave. One of the biggest tenets of feminism is women's biological freedom, which I intrinsically believe in. Okay, I believe, the most powerful thing feminism has done is given women biological and economic freedom in this 21st century. I think that's but here we are in this reformatted for modern audiences. You've changed Chani, you've changed Liet Kynes, and your lead actress who plays Jessica is a strident feminist too, that takes these third wave feminist talking points in interviews talking about the material. And you have these scenes where Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson, is in conversation with Alia, her unborn daughter. And I said this on Twitter. I haven't gotten any response to it yet. Much. And I'm finding some interesting parallels with the baked-in feminism of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood of Dune, the female power structure that really supports everything behind the male facade, the throne of the emperor, the thrones of the dukes and lords and barons. It's the women behind the scenes that pulled the strings and the direction of the empire, while men do men things. They war, they sport, they argue, they eat, they burp, they fart, they fuck. I'm okay with that. That sounds like men and women. Exactly. Bring back. I've got some interesting things to say about Chani, and you are invited, my friend. One day, very soon, James Harris, the Ginger Ninja, and we've been planning on doing a Dune 2 show, and I need to have you involved in that too. So, Gray, I will let you know when that goes down. I need to watch Dune 2 again. I have to see it a second time, but I've actually got some quite positive things to say about Zendaya's portrayal of Chani. It's not entirely bad. It's very cohesive with Villeneuve's version of her. It's exclusive to that. She's her own character. But here with Rebecca Ferguson's Lady Jessica, who is kind of like, you think she's going mad. Maybe she is, because now she's got her head and soul filled with the memories of thousands of Reverend mothers that came before her, with the guilt of knowing she kind of fucked her unborn daughter up by doing this, because her unborn daughter is a Reverend mother. She has no innocence. She knows history. She knows everything. She's fully conscious, and she's not even in the womb 3 months. She's a tadpole, still developing. But you have these scenes of Jessica talking to Alia,
and this is feminist, so there's with the feminists like this. So I'm finding it interesting parallels with the baked-in feminism of the Bene Gesserit, this striving for modernity and modern audiences in the Villeneuve movies as a lens with the most feminist heroine in the movie, Lady Jessica, connecting and conversing with her unborn fetus, respecting its humanity from little after its conception. It's just my personal observation and interpretation, not a judgment one way or the other on the matter. But the whole thing of like modern feminism being, it's just a clump of cells. It's not a human. And then you have something like this, because this is truly a feminist interpretation of Dune. There really is. So there's no two bones about it. And then you have which I just like. I was just a little bit knocked over because it's a really nice kind of maybe a counterpoint to Chani's her new wave of feminism. She's like, Chani is a lot smarter than everyone else in the room. Her mother was the imperial climatologist. She had a very cosmopolitan, very universal frame of reference. She was her mother's daughter in this Villeneuve adaptation, the daughter of Liet Kynes. And she plays this really interesting Zendaya's Chani. She plays the skeptic. She's like her mother. She's a scientist. Liet, the one who had the plan to turn Arrakis into an Eden, who gave them the gift of the water, the moisture traps in the cisterns and the system to just Liet Kynes gave them the gift of knowledge. And so Chani being her daughter. Now, if you look at Zendaya's Chani, you have to look at her through the lens of Sharon Duncan Brewster's Liet Kynes, her mother. That same kind of stridency, that same attitude. I know this, and maybe there's an allegory there. She's the unpleasable youth. I mean, how many teenage girls? I mean, did your teenage girl have that scowl until she lost it one day? You know what I mean? Do all teenage girls have that scowl? I mean, or is it just like Western girls, who are perpetually perturbed and unpleased and unsatisfied? But she plays, Zendaya's Chani plays a really interesting foil to Stilgar. Stilgar, who's an apostle. He's a zealot. He's in love with Muad'Dib spiritually. He doesn't see Muad'Dib as Paul anymore. He sees him as Lieb el-Ghazan, the chosen one, the one from the voice from beyond. You are the fulfillment of the prophecies. And then you have Chani being going, it's a fake story by the Bene Gesserit. I know this, and I psychologically understand this. And look at you people all falling for this. And I love this man, and I don't fall for his bullshit. I think it's interesting. I think there's a lot there. And she's definitely not the Chani from the books, because the Chani from the books, if you remember, was the backup Sadania. If I'm saying that right, she was Jessica's backup to be Reverend Mother. If Jessica did not survive transmuting the water of life in her ceremony, her backup was Chani, whose father was Liet Kynes. And she was not her father's daughter, but her mother's daughter, a Fremen, a religious tribal woman. And I'm just saying, I think that there's more. I think they are definitely two different characters. We're talking about Dune. I love talking about Dune. And I thought she was fine. Oh, that's awesome. There you go. Oh, here we go. Thank you for sharing that with us. And Yeah, I feel like Zendaya plays characters that are not the characters. Well, yeah, because I mean, her MJ isn't Mary Jane; she's Michelle. And but one thing I will say about they might have done a lot of race swapping and changes for the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, but damn, all those kids are great actors. It was fun. Even Ned, Flash, Liz. I mean, the whole gang. I mean, I was impressed with how much I liked those Spider-Man movies. I didn't think I was going to like them as much as I did. And I'm like, these are just so well intended and then like really good. So yes, we are going to do a live stream at the base level. It's going to be me and Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House and James Harris, the Jinja Ninja. And we'll revolve it around your Japanese time there, pal. And I hope you feel better, brother. And don't worry, this too will pass. You'll be okay. And buy Mrs. Wakazashi some flowers, and you know, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. And thanks for talking about Dune with us. Thanks for talking about the Acolyte with us. Thank you for talking about some of the concerns in my culture. It's like, seriously, I had one foot out the door going to Dallas this past weekend, and I'm glad, you know, and I'm kind of glad I didn't go. Not because, I mean, if I was there, I probably would have been there at that party. Yeah, I'd like to meet everyone. I know all these people from TV and in this internet culture. It would be nice to, like, you know, have a drink with them, you know, to, like, you know, shake Gary's hand and to say hi to Jeremy and to meet, like, you know, Ryan and you know, and everyone. I think it would be fun. There's nothing dangerous happened. No one got hurt. You know, someone showed up and made some shenanigans and they were arrested. And now it's like, oh, look what Eric July's doing to poor Clipper. And everyone's like, oh, what the hell is Riley doing showing up at someone's good time, pulling shenanigans and antics? And so it's like, oh, more of this bullshit stuff. But who's making any effort to heal? Who's making any effort to fix stuff? Who's making any effort to not escalate this anymore? We are the only adults in the room, and we're all over here in this room. Who's the adult over there in that room? Saying, "Oh, you fucking knock it off"? Seriously, chill out. You know. Oh man, I feel like Samuel L. Jackson and Do the Right Thing. Just chill. That Perch was the adult. Exactly. But thank you everyone for showing up today. We 31 different funny books reviewed today, talking about pop culture and talking about the Acolyte outrage and why we shouldn't fall for everything that we read, every clickbait. And why are people trying to get you so wound up and upset over these things? Just avoid it. Do what I do. Don't give a shit. Don't watch it. And just, like, you know, if we're talking about Star Wars, let's talk about Star Wars. Qui-Gon Jinn said in episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Anakin, your focus determines your reality. So if your focus is on outrage, that's where your head's going to be. All right? If you're focused on peace, that's where your head's going to be. I mean, seriously, you know, who's at the cooler head over there? Who's going to it's not about blinking. It's not about weakness. It's not about losing face. It's about enough. Can we just not escalate this anymore? This is just, because honestly, something stupid could have happened. That's how it happens. It really is. And yeah, seen enough of that in my life to recognize it even from friggin' this far, you know. Well, you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please think about liking and subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet already. I would love to earn your subscription. We are a growing channel here. We try to be as positive as we can, as much as we can. We try to live a spiritual life here at this dojo for tactical and practical spirituality. See, you know what I mean? Geez, I mean, come on inside, have a drink.
Have something to eat. We'll fight in an hour, but until then, you're on your lunch break. Here, let me buy you lunch. Come on. Has anyone thought about that? Sit down, break some bread, have something to eat real quick. Maybe find a reason to like each other just in that one moment. Who's trying that? No one is. Because why? Peace sells, but who's buying? All righty. You have a great day. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye. Ha-ha!